So I'm really excited because I have invested in quite a few Hourglass makeup products to test and see whether they are worth the money, seeing how they work on my face and whether they perform well, because they are quite pricey and hopefully they are good quality. And yeah, keep watching if you want to see what I think. Also keep watching if you want to see the glow up. So let's go. Hello. So if you haven't already seen, we've got a special guest today. She's making her debut appearance on my channel. We're actually doing collaboration and it is this spot on my chin. She's named Pimpelina and I've been thinking about this joke since last night, so I hope you're all appreciative. Anyway, let's get into it. So the products that I bought from Hourglass can actually all fit in this one hand, and considering I spent about £120 on this little bunch of lovelies here, I'm hoping that I'm going to get what I paid for. Some of these are travel sized, so it was actually less than it would have been if I had bought the full size of them, but it was still quite a lot of money. First up I have a primer. It is the No.28 Primer Serum. It is 8 milliliters, so that doesn't sound like an awful lot. Directions are apply half to 1 pump before or after moisturizer and before makeup. And I've cleansed my face and put a tiny bit of moisturizer on the areas that I needed it, but I left it mostly there because I wanted to see how this performed on its own. So out of the box it is quite tiny, but it's this lovely frosted lavender colour. Just squirted 1 pump onto my hand there, and I think I'm just going to use my fingers to rub it into my face. It does smell really nicely of lavender, and I love the smell of lavender, and it feels quite moisturising. Although 1 pump doesn't really feel like enough, so I might have to get a little bit more, but it is really smooth and sort of glides onto the skin, which is really nice. I'm just going to do a tiny bit more for my forehead. So my skin actually feels really nice and soft and smooth, and it sort of feels like it smoothed over any texture, and I did love the smell of that. I just love the smell of lavender anyway, but if you're not a big fan of lavender then maybe you won't like it. So I don't know how long this would last, but I guess if you're only using 1 small pump or 1 and a bit every time, then hopefully it will last a little while. Next I've got the Seamless Vanish foundation stick, which I feel like everyone and their mum has reviewed this, so it's nothing new for YouTube, but I have been wanting to get my hands on this for the longest time and to try it myself forever. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if this lives up to the hype, because everyone's raved about this, and it will be interesting to see as a stick foundation, because I have had some bad experiences with stick foundations, especially the Tarte Clay Stick foundation, which just broke apart and looked awful on my skin. It glided on really smoothly and looked amazing when you first put it on and sort of from a distance, but then over a bit of time and looking closely up in the mirror, it was all breaking apart and it was just a big mess. But hopefully this will impress me a lot more, especially as it's £45. It's a lot of money. Straight away the packaging just feels so luxurious, and I'm glad because you get what you pay for, obviously. And I love the brown sort of chrome effect to this. It just feels and looks lovely. So you twist it to get it to come up a bit. I'm going to try following the directions that it recommends, which is to do 3 dots on the centre of each side of your face, and 3 on your forehead and 3 on your chin. This is the option to do a full coverage look, and that's the one that I'm going to go for considering we've got our special guest here. But it did say if you did want a lighter coverage option to just do literally a couple of dots on the blemishes and areas that you need it. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a good match for me, because I did order this shade looking at the swatches online, but I think it's going to work because it looks like it will match my neck colour considering my face is quite pink. We're going to start by testing my damp beauty sponge on one side of my face. It does recommend to use the sort of Vanish Hourglass buffer brush, but I don't have that. Girls on a budget. So I'm going to try this on one side of my face and the other buffer brush that I have on the other side of my face and see which works better. It is blending nicely with the sponge, but I don't know if this is going to take away some of the coverage. I think it might do because it will immediately soak up some of the product. I think that colour match is quite nice though. Yeah, that's definitely not full coverage. It is a nice sort of medium coverage with the sponge, but I did do what it recommended for full coverage, but I think the sponge is obviously soaking up a bit of the product. It does look nice though. I don't mind a medium coverage sometimes, but we do have our spot here. So this isn't the most ideal version of a buffer brush, but this is the closest that I have, unfortunately. This is actually just a little Fenty Beauty travel brush, but I'm going to try it, see how it works. I think this is definitely not made for this, but it's the closest that I have. So to be fair, it did blend out really nicely on both sides. I was expecting the side with the brush to leave more streaky lines than it did. It is more of a medium coverage, I'd say, but I think I might go back in with a little bit more to top it up on the areas that I think are needing it a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more on my nose because there wasn't really any on there in the first place when it said to dot it, chin, cheeks, forehead. And I'm going to do a little bit under my eyes, a little bit on these blemishes and redness that I have here. Tiny bit more on my spot area. Oh my god, this is already so dirty. But I guess that just goes to show how creamy this is. And a tiny bit more on my forehead. This is actually the shade Alabaster, if you're wondering. It is one of the lightest shades because I do naturally have really light skin. So here's a bit of a close-up so you can see how the skin looks. I'm really happy with the finish of it. I think it looks really nice and it's a lovely colour. It's blended seamlessly and it's given quite a nice, mostly matte finish. I wouldn't say this is full coverage, but I could have layered up even more if I wanted to, but I didn't want to look too cakey. But I think that primer and that foundation worked really nicely together and overall looks like quite a natural skin finish. So I'm happy with that. To set the foundation in place, I've got the Veil Translucent Setting Powder. Hopefully this will work really nicely with the foundation, considering they're from the same company and they are sort of made to work together. Hourglass is also all cruelty free, which is a huge plus for me. So as this is the travel size of the powder, it is quite small, and I was kind of hoping it would have the lovely gold looking sifter on the inside, but it doesn't. It's just a plastic sifter. But I guess that's because you're paying less for it because it's a travel size one. You get 2 grams of product in here, which doesn't sound like an awful lot, but I'm hoping you only need a little bit to set the foundation. I think I'm going to try using my sponge to go under my eyes and then dust it over the rest of my face with my brush. I can tell that it's a really fine powder, which is really nice. So that actually went on really nicely under my eyes with the sponge, but I'm just going to dust over the rest of my face with my brush. So this is a close-up of my skin with the powder on, and I think it does look really nice. It has stuck a little bit to a couple of dry patches that I had, I think, but overall I don't think it looks too cakey. I don't know if it was 100% translucent. I think it has lightened my face a little bit, but nothing too drastic. It doesn't look like a huge white cast on my face, so might be better to just use it on the areas that you want brightening. Next I've got a little travel size of the Ambient blush in Diffused Heat. Oh, it is really cute actually. So I'm just going to get a little bit on my blush and contour brush. That is a really pretty peachy pink colour. I think that's just given me quite a natural sort of flushed look. I don't know if this is the colour of blush that I would usually go for. It's quite pink, but the other colours of the blush had sold out, so this was the only one left. But I do think it does look really pretty and it does have a little sheen to it. I was expecting it to be really sheeny, but it's not. It's just really subtle. And it does look like it has a fair amount of product in it. I think it would last quite a while. To be fair, I've never really gone through a blush, so I don't think I would need the full size version of this. I think this is really nice on the nose actually as well. So even though I wouldn't usually choose that colour for myself, I do think it looks really cute. and it blended really easily, not patchy, really buildable. So yeah, I really like that. So I'm back. I did just go and apply a bit of mascara and bronzer. They weren't Hourglass because really sadly the ambient bronzer had sold out, and I did really want to test one of them along with the ambient blush. But I am really loving how this makeup is all coming together. I do think the skin looks gorgeous. So very lastly, I have a lipstick to try. This is the Confession Ultra Slim High Intensity Lipstick Refill. This is actually meant to go inside one of their large sort of lipstick containers, which looks really bougie. It's long and thin and sharp, and it's expensive by itself anyway. This is the shade I lust for, and from what I remember it's quite a coral sort of colour, and I don't think I have any lip liners in the same shade, so I'm just going to have to apply it on its own and see how it looks. And this is a full size. I did say this was full size, but it's really small. It's a lot smaller than I was expecting. This actually just reminds me of a little perfume tester, it's so small. And this is how it looks. As you can see, it's really thin. I think this is actually one of the smallest lipsticks I have ever put on my lips. This actually feels like it's so small, I feel like I could just bite it off. It is really creamy, which is really lovely. I do really like how the lipstick feels on. It feels nice and creamy and moisturising. It went on really easily, but I don't think it's my favourite colour, and I don't think it makes my lips look that nice. It does sort of sink into the lines a bit. And I know naturally with lipsticks you can sort of see where your lip ends and the inside of your mouth begins, but I don't really like how it's quite obvious with this. I think I've got other lipsticks I prefer. I don't think it makes my lips look that nice, but maybe that's to do with the colour. I don't think it actually says on the packaging whether it's meant to be matte or satin or what finish that it's meant to have, but it's not fully matte. It does have a bit of a satin finish to it. So yeah, I like how it feels, but I don't love how it makes my lips look. So thank you so much for watching. Please like or subscribe if you did enjoy it, and let me know what you think of the Hourglass products, and I'll see you in the next one.